specifically our favorite, Big 12. I'm your host of the Trevor and Bryce show, Bryce Petty. We need Trevor. Trevor Knight.
14. How we doing today, my friend?
Brother, it is great to see you. And you look dapper. Man,
Thank you.
Just look good.
You know, it's getting a little more chilly outside. Threw the vest on. It wasn't cold enough to put on the long sleeve today, but you know, it's getting a little chilly, hanging out in the house, having my coffee, doing
You're
the whole
such a
deal.
Texan, dude. It's like, I don't know, 62 degrees and you already got a vest on, huh?
I look like I could be going and
got a
playing a little golf. Boy, do I
big-ass
have
hoodie
you
on,
guys
so I'm
fooled. Welcome, everybody, as Bryce said, back to the Trevor and Bryce show. We've been rolling with you all season long, talking about all things Big 12, and boy, has it been a fun year. We have had ups, downs, and everywhere in between. And Bryce, we are nearing the end of the season.
Bedlam week.
It's Bedlam week, and there are incredibly high implications specifically for three teams. Well, really only two, and we'll get to that. One team in our conference has already clinched a spot in Jerry World
Fighting
for
Mullets.
the Big 12 title game. A couple others are fighting for it, and we even have some teams that are fighting for a bowl game position. So a lot to talk about today. Bryce, let's dive straight in. For the first time, I think, in the show's history,
Long time.
we are not going to the Oklahoma Sooners first. We have determined, because this team has clinched a spot in the Big 12 title game, we're going to start with the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Oklahoma State at Texas Tech. It was, kind of what we expected, right? A trap game, an opportunity for Oklahoma State to go and to assert themselves as, at least for a week, the leader in the Big 12. They're 10-1 now. And they pitched a shutout. Pitched a shutout there in Lubbock. Bryce, give us your thoughts on that game, and give us your thoughts on Oklahoma State just as a team this year. We've talked about Spencer Sanders, Jekyll and Hyde. They're gonna slip up. And here they are again. Mr. Mullet himself leading this team to a 10-1 record. Pretty remarkable, isn't it?
To be totally honest, it really is. And they were picked, we were looking at this, pre-show. They were picked third by the guys that know everything to finish third in the conference. But, to be totally honest, what we are seeing with Oklahoma State right now is what I think is I'm trying to think of what the word is for the assistant coach of the year. I always know it. It's not the Broyles or the
Broyles Award.
Is it?
The Broyles Award, yes.
Jim Knowles. Good grief, dude. Your defense is stout. And I think what we're seeing, to answer your question, Trevor, is a unit that is completely hitting on all cylinders right now. This defense from top to bottom, you don't have a whole lot of big names out there. It's not a Georgia defense. It's not a even though Alabama hasn't played great on the defensive side of the ball, it's not your defensive just stout dudes that you're going to have 6 guys go in the first round. They just play really, really well together, and they travel. They get off the bus. This is a game, again, 1 offensive touchdown in the last 4 games.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
I know it.
That's it. That is insane. So these guys are hitting their stride on defense, playing really well. I think it sets them up. They've already clinched, like you had mentioned. But going into Bedlam, I think that Caleb Williams, Spencer Rattler, whoever, Lincoln picks to play, is going to have a really, really tough time. We've talked about it on the show how hard Oklahoma State and Stillwater, are to play in. I think it's going to be a tough, route for Oklahoma to win there. But this game against Texas Tech, holding, and real quick too, another stat for you out there. This is the first time Texas Tech has been shut out since 1997, which is just nuts. So, man. The boys, in the orange and black are rolling, as much as I hate to say it. Yep,
they're rolling. To your point, first shutout since 97. I know it's their 3rd string quarterback, may even be 4th, 5th, 6th. I don't know. Donovan Smith plays the game. When was the last time you heard a Texas Tech quarterback with a stat line like this? 9 of 29 for 83 yards in the air.
It was windy.
It was windy.
It's really windy.
You're playing at home, man. You're playing at the Jones, a great place to play. Historically, a team that at least will put up points. They get run through like, poop through a goose. Typically, they've got horrible defense. I was gonna say a bad word, but you guys know the saying there.
No poop
83 yards in the air for Mr. Smith. Not good. Hats off to Oklahoma State. You clinched a spot in the Big 12 title game. A lot still ahead, and I think Mike Gundy has always done a great job of keeping his team singular focused 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
And in that mindset. So looking for them to come out and play really, really well this next week, and we'll get into that a little later in the show against Oklahoma. But, man, Oklahoma State is rolling. You look for a team to be playing their best ball in Championship November, and they have taken that on and absolutely done that. So big hats off to
on the defensive side of the
Oklahoma
ball
State.
too. On the defensive side, right?
Yes.
You kind of assimilate that with an offense that's really clicking. Scoring a lot of points. Defense gets them off the field. These guys are doing it all on their defense. And rushing and I'd love to do some due diligence on this. I don't know if our viewers and fans know of anything why my man Jaylen Warren has been out. The last couple of weeks, not getting as many touches. Dominic Richardson is playing ball.
Yeah, he is.
But
another Jaylen Warren's still at 1,000-yard rusher already.
That's what's crazy is and whether or not they're just and they're not really blowing him out. But Dominic's getting a lot of touches. So, anyways, it's a backfield by committee. Meaning there's a couple of guys running the ball back there. They do it every game, a lot like Baylor. They know who they are. They're going to run. They're going to run. They're going to run. Spencer Sanders is not turning the ball over as of late, which is a great thing for them.
That's the biggest thing. That's what scared us all year long about Spencer Sanders is that he has the ability, and it's ability is probably not the right word. You are looking for him to make throws where you're like, oh, hold your breath. He's only turned the ball over 6 times this year.
Yeah.
That's winning football.
I know.
Is he putting up crazy numbers? Not really, but he's not doing things to lose his football team the game. The defense is playing great. They've got a solid rushing attack, and he's just making plays when it's asked of him and not forcing horrible, horrible throws like we were scared about seeing. So, again, hats off to that whole crew up in Stillwater. It's going to be a fun one this weekend coming up.
No doubt about it. Baylor at K-State. This was a great one. This was just grown man football, to be totally honest with you. I think we had talked about it, maybe didn't emphasize it enough how physical this game was going to be in the trenches. Front 7 for Baylor versus the front 5 at K-State, vice versa. You got 2 running attacks, guys that have, or really teams that have solidified and identified themselves as a run-first type of offense. You have a 7th-year senior, and Skylar Thompson with K-State, his senior game, or senior night rather. And, there was a lot of emotion in Manhattan. And Baylor has to win this game. They had to win this game, to stay in the fight, and they did it. They took care of business. This defense, I tell you what, I know Oklahoma State, we talk a lot about Oklahoma State in the Big 12 in terms of defense. This defense that Coach Aranda has put on the field, man, they come to work. We had a little blemish there against TCU where we just there was some communication things, and especially in the back end didn't play real well. But they are starting to, again, kind of grow into that identity of who they are. This front 7 for Baylor is really, really they're a talented group. So, anyways, it was great to see that, and outside of one long run by my man Deuce Vaughn, really kept him in check, which was a big thing kind of going into this game.
Yeah, but you look at the stat line, and Deuce Vaughn still, rushes for 128 yards and a touchdown. So he did his thing. What they did was they made Kansas State very one-dimensional, and they made it tough on them. If you watched it, it looked tough for Kansas State to move the football. I have to give it hats off, though. You mentioned his name, and it was his senior night. Skylar Thompson, one of the toughest dudes in college football.
Man.
How many times over the past 2.5 decades that he's been there have we watched him land on his back, grimace in pain, and just keep coming?
Yeah,
I know it. He's been a staple and of that locker room for sure, but also of that team for a long time now, and they're going to miss his leadership moving forward. I have no doubt that they can plug somebody in there with just the culture that we've talked about all year that Kansas State has. But big time for Baylor to go on the road to Manhattan, which we've also talked about as a tough place to play, especially late in November, especially with the implications of chasing your dreams of winning a Big 12 title, and to go out there and just play stout like they did. It's interesting, and we'll get into it later. But Baylor still got a shot to fulfill their dreams of being back atop the Big 12 for the first time potentially since Mr. Number 14 sitting right to my left was hoisting that trophy. So cool, really cool for Baylor and that program, because they did not have these type of expectations coming into the season.
No.
I know we've talked about Dave Aranda and his culture driving skills and how great of a coach he is, but I don't think any of us predicted that it would happen this quickly.
Yeah.
And really be a force to be reckoned with at this point in the season. So hats off to the Baylor Bears. I'm being really complimentary today.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. You ought to try it.
I need
more often.
Something needs to make me mad here in a second. I'm going to go off on something.
I'm sure you
we'll
can.
get to it.
And real
two
quick,
more games down, and we'll get to it.
Yeah,
Don't
no doubt about
worry.
It. Before we leave off this game, though, I haven't read anything about Gary. This week I need to read up and to see if he's going to be healthy. Looked like he tore his hamstring, popped his hamstring, whatever, which is not fun. I was never a runner, so I don't know what that's like. You had wheels. That's
never popped a hammy, and I've heard that that's one of the worst because, I mean, you know how you can get banged up, like as a kid. You go outside and you get banged up. You can move around. It may hurt to the touch, but it's all good, right? When you pull something and you can't go ride your bike because your hip flexor hurts or your hamstring hurts, it's depressing as a little kid. You got to sit inside and talk to your mom and dad and do weird stuff.
I guess.
It's the same. Maybe that was a horrible example, but it's the same type of deal. You pull your hamstring, and it's not like you can go out there and just be fine the next week or shake it off.
Right.
It's you, in the back of your mind, I don't want to overstep here, or else this thing's going to go again, and I can't play after that. It's a tough injury, so hopefully he'll be all right.
I hope so too. And he's solidified himself, especially in the last couple of games, of being dynamic in the run game. And so if you have Tristan Ebner, Abram Smith, and Gary Bohannon running it back there, it just provides a lot of different opportunities on offense to play around with that with Jeff Grimes and what he's been able to do, but also kind of keeps you on your toes a little bit as a defense. But I tell you what, a little shout out to Blake Shapen. I mean, holy smokes, dude.
I was about to say, yeah.
Coming in there and played really, really well, was efficient, knew the offense. I mean, you came in, Sugar Bowl, right? Was your first?
No, I had played that whole year.
Why did I think that the Sugar Bowl was that's not good.
Nope.
Concussions are bad. Okay, stay in golf, kids. No, I don't know why. I thought, anyways, regardless of that, maybe I just was trying to say a big game. For Blake Shapen again, and what we were trying to put together, for Baylor coming into and had to have a win. When he came in, it was a tight ball game. I mean, he came in and played the second half, and it was at that point 17-7 ish, maybe even 14-7. So coming in and being efficient off the bench is all you can ask for your guy, and especially in the NFL, you see it a lot, more often in terms of. Having to kind of prepare in a way that's mature, right? For him to come in and not really, look, it's Gary's thing, I'm just going to cool it on the sideline. For him to be as young as he is and say, hey, man, I'm going to prepare well and know what I'm doing. I mean, this is a redshirt freshman. So, all that being said, or I guess a true freshman. So all that being said, my hat's off to you, buddy, and I hope that Gary's okay. But, man, it just in terms of what's coming down the pipeline for Baylor, you got to be excited about that. So,
watching that game as a Baylor fan, Gary goes down. I mean, he's been a huge part of your success thus far. Everybody's kind of holding their breath a little bit, and then, like you said,
hiccup?
No.
Oh, you were holding your breath. Sorry,
hold my breath. But Blake comes in and like you said, just wise beyond his years for a freshman, for the coaching staff to have the trust in a freshman to come in a situation like that with a lot on the line in terms of your season outlook. Hats off to him.
Yeah, really good. Okay, Iowa State at OU. Let's see, what do you think there, buddy? The flu game is what they're calling it. Have you read about that?
Yeah, a bunch of guys came down with the flu. But hey, there's sickness. We had a COVID year,
red
so
Solo cups over
you-
there in Norman, I guess.
potentially, yeah. We go to the local Norman Walmart and pass around cups and spit in it and drink it and stuff.
Ew.
Yeah, it's just kind of how we roll. No, but a lot of guys are sick. The good thing is last year with the COVID year, you kind of got used to plugging and playing, next guy up, all those things. So it's not an excuse. I'll tell you this, though. We still didn't see a breakout game from and not that it's breakout's not the right word, right? Because we've seen Caleb Williams play well in games and put up big numbers. We did not see an efficient game by Caleb Williams. The quarterback position, the confidence there at this point is completely shot, which is scary going into Bedlam for sure, and anything beyond that's at this point a dream, right? OU was thankful and lucky that this was a home game.
They ought to be sending some thank you cards to Brock Purdy.
Absolutely. I mean, if Iowa State was consistent enough to play the way that they're capable of playing, i.e. last year, i.e. a couple games this year, really kind of the second half, and they came out and they played even decent, I'll say, this is an Iowa State win.
I know. I think so too.
But you can't take away the fact that on Senior Day, with everything going on, you still get a big win. Iowa State's not a bad team, right? You still put yourself in a position to go, play at Bedlam and go to the Big 12 title game. So there's a lot of things still out in front of you, but I'd be remiss if I didn't just bash OU for their performance here in November. This OU is a November team. They always have been. The last 6 years, I think it's the last 4 years, maybe 6, I don't know, haven't lost a game in November and start murdering people and getting ready to go, and boom, 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 boom. They're taking steps back, in my opinion, at this point in the season. That's not what you want to say and see with all the things that are on the line right now.
I agree, and this is, I think we've been talking about OU as a whole not playing well. Outside of the Texas game, their defense has actually been playing well. They're not letting people score. So in a world where if you think of Oklahoma, you think of three things, really. Offense, Lincoln Riley, and the quarterback, whoever that is.
Trevor Knight. Obviously.
This is a very, again, if you look at the entire year, just a very subpar year to where rumor mill has it that LSU is about to offer Lincoln a hell of a deal.
Okay, so I want to hear your thoughts, but let's take a tangent really quickly because I want to hear
tangents.
Yeah, quick tangent. I have talked about this quite a bit this week. The LSU.
Your other podcast?
No, just with folks.
I was about to say.
Just with different folks.
Cheating on me, right? Okay.
Let's say Lincoln Riley gets offered the
It's like a
$9 million.
Yeah. It's like a $95 million deal.
$9 million a year plus deal at LSU. With OU moving to that conference, do you think he takes that job? And I want to hear your thoughts first, because then I'll give my quick analysis on it, and then we can dive back in. Do you think if Lincoln's offered that job at that price point and OU's not able to match that, does he go?
If it's me, what you just said, OU's not able to match that, I'll turn my Tahoe back into Norman Chevrolet, and I'm looking for houses in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Okay.
In a world, right, there's a competitiveness to you, no doubt about it. No one likes losing. But in a world where quite possibly the greatest job out there right now is a fired head coach, I am taking that job. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. I'm taking that. I'm going to OU and I'm saying, hey, look, they just offered me a $10 million, $95 million deal, or a 10-year, $95 million deal. Can you guys match that? And I will also say, if you guys can't, bye-bye. I'm gone. You can recruit better in Baton Rouge, and I really don't care because the thing is, this is the hard part about Baton Rouge, right? If you don't beat Alabama every year, or at least showing up, you're gone. There's 2 national championships in the last, Saban won in 2003. So you got 2 national championships in the last, 15 years that the coaches have been let go. Now, granted, let go. Saban took the Miami job, and then he's at Alabama. But Ed O, culture, whatever, that dude just might put I would say outside of possibly the
Miami in the 80s.
I was going to say, I mean, that's probably one of the
USC
best.
05, even though they lost to Texas.
That's why I think the Texas team might have been better. But I don't know. I mean, I think he put the best team in the modern era on the field that we have ever seen.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Less than 2 years ago.
Go on. So, but again, best job in the world as a fired head coach.
Yeah.
That 95, when you signed on the dotted line for that, buddy, that is generational money.
Yes.
And then go coach at A&M Prairie View.
Or go coach the Little League team. Or don't
cares?
coach ever again.
I'm gone.
All right,
is
so
getting to that.
that's a good point. Here's my thoughts really quick, and you touched on a couple big points for me. Lincoln Riley has 2 little girls. They're super cute. He's got his wife. She's awesome, and they have the opportunity in the coaching world to stay in one place for the remainder of their girls' upbringing, which is so unique in coaching, this carousel,
Good
right?
point.
Go through one school system. They have friends. They have a cool thing going at OU. Not to mention they're both from Muleshoe, Texas, which outside of his alma mater, Texas Tech, which isn't quite as big of a job, he's at the closest big-time school to home. In-laws can be there, see the kids, all those good things, right? Plus, he's making a lot of money. That being said, you're going to the SEC in a year, 2 years, 3, whenever they go. If he jumps and goes to LSU, not only will he make more money, again, assuming they don't pay him and match it at OU, not only will he make more money, but he's inheriting at least a much better foundation of players that can sustain the SEC schedule. What he's going to have to do at OU is go start from scratch and build an SEC roster. So take yourself out of the football world. All of us fans, take a step back. If you're a CEO of a construction company and you're making $7 million a year, it's obviously a global construction company.
That's a really good question.
You're making $7 million a year, and a competitive global construction company comes to you and goes, hey, man, we want you to do the exact same thing you're doing. By the way, your company is coming in and playing in all the markets that we are, but we have market share because we've been here longer, and we're going to pay you $2, $3, $4 million a year more. Every single one of us is taking that.
Can
it's
you
the
imagine
same thing.
how awesome that house is going to be in Muleshoe, Texas?
Oh, my gosh.
With 95 buckaroos.
Except for it's not just going to be Muleshoe. They're going to have a 1,000-acre ranch in Muleshoe. They're going to have a house in the Bahamas. They're going to have a house in Malibu. Wherever they want to go. Montana. I think he likes to fish a lot. I mean, to your point, generational wealth. And not that he's not making that at OU. I mean, $7 million a year is a lot of money. But we forget the fact that, like, this is a real person with a real family with that's his job. It's his vocation. So I think it'll be really interesting. I personally don't think he goes because of some of the reasons that I said before. I think he loves OU. I think he wants to win a national title there. I think that he loves, that his girls are growing up in a cool little, area. But money talks, man.
If you want to win a national championship, I think you got to go to Baton Rouge. I mean, I think to your point, what you just made, building an SEC roster. Now we've seen it, right? Heupel at Tennessee is doing it. Kiffin at Ole Miss is doing it. Kendall Briles at Arkansas is doing it.
Dan Mullen at Florida was not doing
it, right? So we've seen this kind of spread, up-tempo type offense have success. But and Jimbo doesn't do it. I mean, he does a spread, but it's different. But the idea is that what we have seen him struggle this year in a conference outside of Oklahoma State, Baylor. Those who I would say the top two defenses. Wow, dude. I mean, and my biggest thing on him right now is just there is a question of can he develop a quarterback. When you go back and you look, he inherited Baker. He inherited Kyler. He inherited Jalen Hurts. All leaders, all a bunch of games under the belt. This is two guys. I don't understand how Spencer Rattler goes from all world to like the guy can't operate an offense. I don't know how Caleb Williams comes in there, and I think Caleb Williams is going to be really good. But like the stat lines on these last couple games have just been awful. There's just no offensive production. There's no rhythm to what they're doing. And the big plays are 50-50 balls.
Yeah.
If you take away a couple of those balls that he threw against Texas, like Caleb Williams is like, man, he's good. He's got legs on him or whatever. But like, what is it? They're not operating, man. They're not efficient at all to me in a way that they have been efficient building an offense on big plays, building an offense on the run game. And Kennedy Brooks put up, 100 plus this game. And I feel like, again, they finally got to it. But again, that's why I open it up with the defense is not the defense is not the problem for OU, and they actually had 7 sacks this game,
right,
and 3 turnovers,
right, and it's still a 7-point game.
That's what I'm saying.
So this is not defending Lincoln Riley. This is for purpose of I'd really want to hear your thoughts. It's going to sound like a homer comment, but it's not. The luck was going to run out on Lincoln Riley at some point with having Heisman Trophy winner, best player in college football, followed by Heisman Trophy winner, best player in college football, followed by Heisman finalist, one of the best players in college football that are all starting NFL quarterbacks right now as young guys.
It's crazy.
So it was like he was probably elevated to the QB mastermind a little too high because he had those 3 guys.
Yeah.
Now we're back down to still great players, should be playing at that level. I think it was almost unfair for Spencer Rattler to step into that role. He is incredibly talented, but, I mean, how many Heismans are you going to have in a row, right? Like, it's just not sustainable. So I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he's mishandled a lot of things this year, which are, making people question it. But I don't think he's quite the QB whisperer as we've elevated him to be. Don't get me wrong. That's not trying to be a bashful thing at him. It's just you had Heisman winner, Heisman finalist. Like that's insane.
Yeah, I would agree, except for the fact that Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams were those were 1-2. Mm-hmm. Those are 1-2 in the nation.
I agree.
So QB whisperer or not, again, it's can you produce, can you execute, can you be efficient?
They are underperforming, no doubt about it.
Right, and you don't know what a high school kid is going to do. Again, Caleb Williams, painted fingernails and all, is 18 years old. And what I love of he's got so much Baker in him, dude. I almost wanted to text you over the weekend because like, when he scores, he wants to get right back in your face and just jab.
Can we not forget too that we're talking about a freshman and a sophomore here?
Right.
Like
I agree, and that's my thing. But still at the same time, it goes back to my quote. Can you develop a guy? Right. Yeah. You had all offseason to get with Spencer. Whatever that conversation was, hey, dude, humble yourself a little bit. But the thing is I never touted him as a QB whisperer, right? To me, he's not a,
George Whitfield. Shout out George.
Shout out George. After Dark.
Join us on Saturdays.
Legendary coach. He's at Duke right now. Cutcliffe.
Mike Krzyzewski.
No.
Oh,
we're still talking football.
Yep. Play with the Mannings. The Mannings made him famous.
They made him famous, but look what he did for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There was a development in that. There is a development in this day and age now to where it goes far beyond the X's and O's. But what I loved about Lincoln the past couple years, because it is hard to understand what a guy is good at.
Yep.
I know that's crazy to say. You have to your point, you have the best players in the league 3 years in a row. What do you mean you don't know? Baker's game and Kyler's game and Jalen Hurts' game is different. And then follow that up with Spencer Rattler's game. They're all different. So it takes a lot for a coach to know when and how to call a game the right way to maximize the potential and maximize the opportunity for a Spencer Rattler or a Caleb Williams to go out and execute.
Yep.
And what we are seeing right now is this very, very lethargic offense waiting for something bad to happen instead of making something happen, right? And again, Caleb Williams in this Baker Mayfield type of mindset, you can tell that this dude is as fiery as a competitor as they come, you can build a lot off of that. Keep him in the game.
I know.
Stop.
Don't ruin this
That's what I'm
freshman's
saying.
mind.
And then don't mess with his mind. And then the other thing is get in the film room with him, and I'm sure they are. This is just couch quarterbacks talking, but get him in the film room because you can see that this guy is second guessing a lot of things now. Where he was just pulling the trigger against UT. How many 50-50 balls do you see much anymore? Outside of, there was one at Baylor, the midfield that should have never been thrown. But I'm talking about like an attacking 50-50 ball. Guy is better than your guy, and he's going to get you.
I think that's exactly what we're talking about. He's probably not taking a chance on those type of balls because he's scared he's going to get pulled.
And he might be. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And I know we got to keep going here, but I don't know what's going on in Norman. I just don't know. I don't know what the issue is from an offensive standpoint when you have a guy that has been there and done that. He's called plays now in Norman for how many years? Since 2015?
7, I think. This is his 7th season. Calling plays.
Calling plays?
15,
Okay.
16, 17.
There's no
18,
way it's 07.
2021. Yeah, 7.
I'm just saying that you said 2007.
No. 7 years.
Okay.
15 to 2021.
Okay, cool. So I was right
7.
and you were right.
Do math, dude.
You said 2000.
Did you take math?
Garrett, you heard him say 2007.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I said 7
Garrett
years.
likes me better. Anyway,
Count them out. If you need to use your pointer finger, do it.
that's fine. I literally said 2015. Anyways, this dude's been doing it for a while now. He knows what he's doing. This is just in a weird pond, like a very stagnant pond that we're getting in where it's like, dude, you have the athletes to go out here and put up points. Go put up points.
I know.
Okay.
I agree. One more thought there before we move on. Bryce was the young man, ladies and gentlemen, that had to go in a separate classroom to take standardized tests. Really sad. So if he messes up some math,
and I would appreciate
then it's okay.
Did
no,
you
there's
start
no
the
problems with that, by the way.
Did you start in the Sugar Bowl? You said no. I had 11 games before that.
That is funny. All right,
Anyways.
my favorite team to talk about, not Texas at West Virginia. Their 6th. Count them. Can you count that high?
1,
2. 6 losses in a row.
Not good, man.
I was told, I need somebody to fact check this, that this is the first time Texas has lost 6 or more games since Earl Campbell was the age of 1. I know you can count that high. 1 year old. It has been a long.
It's 1 year old.
1 year old. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It has been a long time since the boys in Burnt Orange have been this bad. I mean, they've been bad. They're back, all that fun stuff. No. 6 in a row, Bryce. They go to West Virginia, which is a tough place to play. But they're deflated. I mean, please wave the white towel. Send us home. Seniors, let's go out next week. Let's hand some flowers to our moms, and let's just go back in the locker room. We don't want to be here. Yeah. Get us out of this year. It's going to be a long off season in Austin because they are not going to a bowl game. It's not happening.
And what's crazy, I think it's the best thing for them. I think a long offseason exactly what they need because Sark needs to figure out who is here to be a University of Texas football player. When you look at this team, and I don't know if I mentioned I've been talking about so Trainer is a massive UT fan. Sent me an article or a write-up rather of what they called the bus rate. Bus rate meaning like guys that came in and they're on the bus now out. It is a very interesting stat line when you start talking about 45% of the junior class gone, 52%.
That's crazy, man. And a lot of it's coaching turnover, right?
It is. It is. I mean, how do you build depth? You can't build depth, right? And my whole thing on this Casey Thompson deal now is like, look, Sark, you are building for the future now. It is very evident that you are building for the future. Play Hudson Card, man. Let him get some snaps under his belt. You've already benched Casey Thompson like 7 times.
But he ruined Hudson Card because he made him the starter, and then he benched him. So now Hudson Card's like, oh, wow.
Right. And it's the same thing that we keep talking about.
I have been there. It messes with your head. You try and overcome it, but it is so much different when somebody just gives you the reins, and you'll take a few lumps, but you won't take as many lumps when you have the confidence of your coach behind you, and then your team, and then the fan base, and everything. Like, that makes a difference, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it really does, and I hate the fact that these guys are bouncing back and forth because it's like a lot of other situations that have happened in Austin before where you just can't pick a guy. It was like, who's the greatest quarterback ever to come out of Lake Travis? Why can't I think of his stinking name? He's still playing. Played for the Cowboys last year. Garrett Gilbert.
He's deemed as the greatest quarterback ever to come out of
Dude, he was like
Lake Travis?
Oh, yeah. He was Gatorade National Player of the Year, like unreal. Like absolutely unreal.
I didn't know that. Great guy.
But anyways, probably not a great example, but I'm with you. Don't go bouncing back and forth. I'll tell you one thing that is positive in Austin right now. Their rushing attack. Bijan Robinson, he's out, but they have some depth there.
Yeah, they got dudes, man.
Kylan Robinson comes in, rushes for over 100 yards, rushes for a tutty, and then Xavier Worthy.
He's the guy you build around.
He has put up numbers.
He's Donovan
week.
Smith for Sark, which you gotta love. So if they come in and they have a little slot guy, they have Xavier Worthy that can bust the top off. Just allow Hudson to make mistakes. It's fine. And that's what if you said, hey, this guy played better than him in camp, then believe that.
Yep.
And let him go.
Yep.
Let him go. He's gonna make mistakes. The kid's 18 years old, 19 years old. Let him make the mistakes. It's
if you're gonna go on a 6-game losing streak anyways, just put him in there.
Yeah.
And start off season early.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody kind of goes into a game knowing that we're gonna go six in a row here, but
they should have, because they have I'm gonna hold my breath. Yeah. They have a horrible culture.
They just have guys that aren't bleeding for the colors, and they're not bleeding for the school. And I think that, again, part of this whole transfer portal deal that we've been talking about, this purple ribbon society that we're in, about it's your way, it's entitled, whatever, and you don't work for stuff, is creating this it's hard. And it's the reason that it's hard is because it's so seldom that you actually have coaches, especially in this game in football, just because we cover it all the time, that are able to create culture. Mm-hmm. And when you do have it, you keep them there.
Yep.
Right? And so I think that, like I said, it's the best thing that happened for UT. They're not playing well. This defense has completely given up. They do not care at this point anymore. Letty Brown is a really good running back, but, dude, letting him go for 150 on you is not UT football. Jared Dagies, again, decent quarterback. Letting him go for almost 300 and 3 touchdowns is not – and this was a West Virginia team that wanted to be beat. That's the whole thing. They wanted to be beat. They didn't care. But blood in the water is you know, when UT comes in, there's blood in the water, man. This is a chance for every team in the Big 12 to sit here and stomp while you're down.
Yep.
It's just not – it's not fun to watch. I hate it for them. I hate it for the guys that actually do bleed for that school, because there's so many guys. To your point, you've made that point several times over the course of our podcast here, that, man, you were hanging up burnt orange, posters, man. That's a thing. Like, when we were watching football growing up, there's so many guys that we used to watch that played for UT, and all you wanted to do as a Texas high school kid, Texas, whatever, junior high, doesn't matter, or middle school kid, you love to think about yourself playing in Austin for the Texas Longhorns, and they have lost what that means.
Yeah.
They've lost what that means.
I'll say one of my best friends from high school, his little brother is Derek Kerstetter, starts on the O-line at Texas. So I get to watch them quite a bit, and I do watch them quite a bit because of him. He's making his 49th start against Kansas next week.
Wow.
Not Kansas. Against
I think it's KSU, right? Kansas State?
Yes, Kansas State. Sorry. 49th start. And I'll say, because we bash their whole program, right? He is a guy that has given his blood, sweat, and tears to the university. He cares. He hates the fact that they're losing, right? So there are guys out there that care.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's going to graduate, not get a bowl game his senior year, which is tough. But hopefully there are a couple embers left that can be ignited in that locker room.
Sark will find it, man.
I think
Sark
he
will
will.
find him.
I think he will, but it certainly isn't going to be this year. Speaking of confidence, though, let's move on to our last game of the week. Kansas at TCU. TCU gets the win, and I want to hear your thoughts about the swap there at quarterback, because I know you've got some. But Kansas, look, you get a big win. It shows what confidence can do for you.
Mm-hmm.
They are competitive with TCU now,
Yeah.
right? Like, if they wouldn't have gone and played that well against Texas, this wouldn't have happened. I mean, look at them. They just get curb stomped week in and week out. This shows you right here that confidence can go a long way in the game of college football and really anything in life. So, Bryce, give me your thoughts on the game and then also the quarterback situation there in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that it's a huge thing. I just feel like Chandler Morris gave those guys in Fort Worth a spark. You know, look, he went into a buzzsaw at Stillwater for his second start, and I think that if I'm coach now, I would love to just sit there and be like, hey, Max, you've done a lot for us, thank you. But this kid's different, and just to see what happens. That's my only thing. I have nothing against Max Duggan, because I think he does a lot for this offense. He does a lot on through the air and on the ground. I think he is a leader for those guys. I just think that Chandler provided a spark against a Baylor team that, like, how do you not play a kid that went for damn near 500 yards and beat a top 10 team?
Yeah.
Or I think we were 12 at the time, but regardless, we were hot and we kind of controlled our own destiny at that point. So, anyways, that's my thing on that. But Kansas, I tell you what, Coach Leopold. I still think that he's like in a musket on a ship. I don't know what it is about Leopold. Regardless, this dude might be the guy. He might be the guy to sit there and create a somewhat winning culture in Lawrence in this football team. And I think they have their guy in Jalen Daniels. Look, he provides, again, just like I was talking about Chandler Moore, he provides a spark for this offense. They've always been a good rushing team. They've always had guys that can run the football because that's, kind of all they can do. This guy, he's coming off the biggest win probably that he'll ever have in Austin. Doesn't matter how bad Texas is. For Kansas to come in Austin and beat them, throwing to a guy that's never played a snap, which is just awesome in the entirety of what that story is. Yep. But what he gives these guys is confidence. Talking about Coach Leipold now, there is a winning culture that is starting to brew in Lawrence, and I know that it's 2 games. Bryce, hold your break. I get it, but the way that they've been playing the last couple of weeks, they are in games. This OU deal, then they come in and beat Texas, and then they take TCU down to the wire. This is starting to create a little bit, and that's all you need. You put a unique word in there, because I haven't used embers in a sentence in a long time, but embers is kind of the thought that kind of creeps into my mind in Lawrence a little bit, that, hey, we're not just a basketball school. Like, guys, we can build off of this. We can bring this into 2022, and I like the way that the guys respond to Coach Leipold and what he's doing.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if – I think you're a little bit too optimistic. I mean, it's still Kansas.
Wait till next year.
But I'd love to see another Orange Bowl type season. Those guys, Todd Reesing and the boys back in the day, would be sweet. But that's our wrap-up from this past week. So before we move on, let me get a quick message out from our sponsors over at BetterHelp. Is there something that is preventing you from achieving your goals or interfering with your happiness? If there is, let me tell you guys about BetterHelp. Professional help done securely online. Check out BetterHelp.com/TBS. BetterHelp will assess your individual needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist to allow you to connect in a safe and private online environment. It's so convenient, you can start communicating in less than 48 hours. BetterHelp is not a crisis line. It's an avenue to accessing professional therapy without having to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. BetterHelp has licensed professionals who specialize in depression, stress, anxiety, as well as relationship and grief counseling. You can message your counselor at any time and get timely, thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly phone or video sessions. Find the particular expertise you need online. Don't limit yourself to the counselors located near you, and do it in a manner that is more affordable than traditional offline counseling. Financial aid is available. So many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. I want you to start living life happier today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/TBS. Join over the 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TBS today. Bryce, before we get into games this week, which I want to run through pretty quickly, I know we were a little long-winded on our recap, let's talk real quick about the implications for the Big 12 title game. We've already talked. Oklahoma State has clinched a spot in the Big 12 title game, okay? They are going to Jerry World. Now, here are the other scenarios of who their opponent will be. If Oklahoma wins Bedlam this week, which we'll talk about in a second, the Big 12 title game will be a Bedlam rematch, which could be crazy, right? If Oklahoma loses the Bedlam game and Baylor loses to Texas Tech, which we don't think probably will happen, the Big 12 title game will also be a Bedlam rematch. So OU wins, title game, Bedlam rematch. OU loses and Baylor loses, title game, Bedlam rematch. Now, if Oklahoma loses Bedlam and Baylor beats Texas Tech, the Big 12 title game will be Oklahoma State versus Baylor. So obviously, if you're a Baylor Bears fan, you need Oklahoma to lose, and you're rooting for your team this week. If you're an OU fan, you want to win. If you're an OU fan and you lose, you got to be a big Texas Tech fan this week.
Yeah, and we're playing first.
That's what it comes down to. We started speculating this weeks ago, and we couldn't really wrap our minds around it. Now it's pretty clear as day, right?
If you guys can't see behind me, I think we spoke this into existence. This whole set that Garrett made for us, the green and gold behind me, it's been here all year. Or week 5.
Mr. Petty is coming in hot for his Bears.
I am coming in hot. So look, we have a very, 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 very good opportunity. And this is all you can ask for, right? As a player, all you can ask for is an opportunity. Well, that's to play. In this situation, it is to, hey, if we beat Tech, that's all we care about. We got to do that. We can't hope for OU to win and beat Oklahoma State if we don't take care of Texas Tech. It doesn't
the other way
matter.
around.
No.
Yeah.
We have to. I'm saying we can't hope for OU to beat Oklahoma State and not take care of Tech. We have to take care of Tech first.
You don't want OU to beat Oklahoma State, though.
I know, but what I'm saying is you can't even hope for that if you don't take care of Tech. If we lose to Tech, it doesn't matter anyways. We have to beat Tech. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
You with me?
You just said it completely wrong, but I get what you're saying.
Man, if we roll this tape back, Gary, I tell you what. God bless.
You said you can't even hope for Oklahoma to beat OSU, which you cannot have happen for you guys to go to the game. So I get what you're saying. That was not part of the statement. But it was so wrong. All right.
This is like a precursor to me and my wife's fights, man. She's like, that's not right. I'm like, yes, it is. Anyways, all that being said is we got to take care of business. So who's playing and what to watch for in the Big 12 coming up? So we have, if we can, Garrett, Let's dive into this here real quick, and then
Bryce just had to move on. He's the type of guy that's not very good at conflict. He's not a talk it out kind of guy. It's a move on. Let's just sweep it on.
Yeah, I'm a cuddle guy. Let's keep going. Kansas State at UT. Guys, UT minus 2.5.
How?
What?
I'm putting every penny that
ESPN
I have
has
in my
Texas
tiny little
minus
piggy bank,
3.
which is
this
like
is Bet Rivers,
13 cents. I'm putting that on the Kansas State Wildcats. How? Texas has lost to Kansas. They've lost to everybody. They're on a 6-game losing streak. Are they just simply saying it's at home? They're going to come out because it's literally the last game of their year, so they're just going to go balls to the wall and put it. I don't understand.
I got to be honest. I'm just hoping he puts 50 guys out on the field. Like I don't know. This is the most toxic as I've ever seen a UT locker room.
Do we think – oh, this is horrible. Do we think any Texas players forego this game to go start training for the NFL?
I don't know. I mean, this is tough, to be totally honest with you. The only thing is it's senior night, so, but they got some stuff they got to fix. I am taking – I haven't asked you yet, partner, but I am taking Kansas State in this game, and I might throw a couple – of doll hairs at this bet.
I'll do it with you. Maybe we can do a Trevor and Bryce show joint live bet on this game, because I'm with you, dude. I just don't see what the algorithms are pulling to make
this is human error.
This
is completely human error. No doubt about it.
They've dropped 6 games in a row.
Whoever typed this up was like, "Hey, look what I did. Look what I did here. You got it.
I think this is a Christmas gift for us all.
You guys got to come see
it's
this.
a Christmas gift.
Vegas
Plus,
over here
it's an 11 o'clock
kick.
kick. Just tough for Tex. I mean, home game, senior day, and it's 11 o'clock against Kansas State. You're going to lose your 7th game in a row. Me and Bryce are going to make money off of you. It's just sad all the way around. Yep, certainly taking Kansas State, and I'm going to go over here. I think they'll put up some points.
I actually, I love it, brother. I'm going to go over as well.
Okay.
Keep it up.
Next one. We've got TCU traveling on the road to Iowa State. Iowa State is a 15-point favorite. Thoughts here, Mr. Petty?
This one's another tough one, but TCU is, man, they're just beat up. They got a lot of injuries, and I think they're going to look forward to next season. I think it's going to be in a similar situation. This is always luckily enough, we never had games like this. Most of the games in November mattered, but you do see it. Guys really start to check out and kind of get into off-season programs, start training for the league, whatever. I think TCU is going to be hey, who's going to be our coach? Let's look into this. So I got Iowa State winning this game. I'll senior night with Brock Purdy and with Breece Hall. I think they're going to win big. So I'm gonna take Iowa State, and I'm gonna go. I don't think TCU is gonna put up a lot of points. I'll take the under.
I'm gonna go against you here, Bryce, and the reasons why is this: it's not an appetizing game for me at all. I won't turn it on. I might. I don't know. We'll see what's going on.
We owe it to our fans.
I may not turn it on, guys. I'm just gonna be honest. But the reason that I'm gonna take TCU is they actually do have something to play for. If they somehow go on the road as a 15-point dog and beat Iowa State, they get to extend their season and go play in a bowl game. So that's the only reason I'm sitting here going, okay, these guys are rallying around each other, the leaders of the locker room, certainly the seniors. You're going to get all their best shot because they don't want to hang up the pads, especially the ones that aren't going to go on and play at the next level. They have an opportunity to put them on just one more time if they win this game. That's why I'm taking TCU in the bet. I still think Iowa State's going to win, unfortunately, even though I just gave a big precursor to like a cool story. But I think it's going to be closer than 15 points. So those are our Friday games.
I like you, but I don't like you.
Those are our Friday games. Fun that
Jack
we have.
Trice Stadium at 37 degrees.
Yeah, that
They're
sucks.
drinking beer right now.
That sucks.
Right.
But that's a Friday game.
That is a
Fun.
Friday game. Both
By the way,
Friday.
for all of you listening, if it is Thursday, by the time you're listening to this, happy Thanksgiving. And a lot of you might be listening to this on the way to see family and friends for Thanksgiving.
Thanks for stopping in.
We have a lot to be thankful for. I am thankful for my esteemed co-host here, Mr. Bryce Petty. I'm thankful for Garrett, our producer. I'm thankful for the opportunity to talk ball each and every week. I'm thankful for my wife, Lacey. She's amazing. I'm thankful for my son family that is on the way.
Growing family.
I'm thankful for, I could go on, boys and girls. I am very, very thankful. So happy Thanksgiving to you all. Anyways, back to Saturday. Next one here, we have Texas Tech at McLean Stadium, the house that Bryce Petty built. Baylor is a 14.5-point favorite over the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And I'm sorry, this is not at McLean Stadium.
Yeah, it is.
It is. It is. Yes, it is. For the first time in the recent history, isn't it? Because they've played in Jerry World.
Last couple. But I think I was talking to Garrett about this. I think 2019 is when they.
That's right. That's right. Sorry, concussions.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not the only one.
At McLean Stadium, Baylor is a 14.5-point favorite. We've talked about all the implications for Baylor. They've got to win to have a shot to get in. So, Bryce, what do you take here?
Yeah, this godly. I hope Gary's good. We really didn't dive into it too much, but man, when you have soft tissue and it's cold outside, this is gonna be. They got it at 43 degrees. It's tough to keep that thing warm. So I hope Blake Shapen is watching a lot of film. Like I said, I loved what I saw from him, but it is one thing to prepare versus being thrown in. Some guys, I know it's crazy to say, but some guys are actually better when they're just thrown in, and it's like a whole different week when you have to actually prepare as a starter. Hopefully Gary's is able to go out on senior night, because this would be a really big deal for him. But to your point, completely wrong with TCU having something to play for. Baylor actually does have something to play for. As I was mentioning before, my very thankful co-host here decided to interrupt me pre-speech and say that I said it wrong. We can't do anything and or hope for anything in Bedlam if we don't take care of Texas Tech. So I think we win, and I think we win big, because I think and this is crazy too, because Joey McGuire, I don't know if you're going to go to the game or not. You were assistant for the last 5 years.
He's going to wear a mask
in Waco. This could be weird. But
I think he's handled himself well. He's a lot like myself. I would consider myself a guy that can walk into two programs and feel at home.
I can see that. Yeah, I could see that.
It's never happened, but I feel that way. Anyways, I'm taking Baylor in this one as well. Texas Tech's a bad football team. I mean, they're going to get Joey McGuire. They're going to start to rebuild.
Last week, they're not that bad.
They're bad. Team. They're really bad. Baylor's going to win this football game. I'm taking Baylor minus 14.5. Moving on to the next one.
Big game here.
West Virginia at Kansas. Much like TCU, if West Virginia beats Kansas, who's playing hot? Let's just be honest. West Virginia marks themselves as bowl eligible. They get to extend their season. They have that to play for. Kansas, I love you. You just talked about Lance Leipold and what he's doing there, but you're not going to get this one. I'm taking West Virginia in the game, but I am taking Kansas in the bet. I think it's going to be closer than 15.5 points. So put a couple doll hairs on the old.
Leipold gets his third win of the year.
All right.
And we head into 2022.
Chick-fil-A?
Corso.
Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, dude.
All right. You guys heard it here first. I already had to pay up
board?
and wear a disgusting – I don't think Bryce had washed the hoodie that I wore a couple weeks ago.
I worked out in the day before. The day
since college. I mean, it smelled – it looked like –
it's probably a lot bigger in the chest than you.
Disgusting.
I've got dad boobs.
And I had to bring him Chick-fil-A because Baylor beat OU. So here is our bet of the week. Bryce is saying that Kansas State is not only covering the spread, but they are winning the football game.
I think if they win, they cover the spread.
Well, obviously.
Oh, man.
I'm going for the Mountaineers.
Leipold. The Bryce Fighting Leipolds in Lawrence.
I'm going to go ahead and reveal my order to you now.
Lance Leipold in Lawrence.
I want a
doesn't take a loss.
12-piece chicken nugget meal, large, with a large lemonade and a number one
Two
by
meals?
its side. No,
You
not
say
a
by
meal.
its side?
On the side, by itself. You interrupted
I'd like
me, dude.
a chicken sandwich by its side.
All
All right, here we go. We're having too much fun.
You're a joke.
This is the game of the week. Somehow, College Game Day said, you know what? This isn't that cool. We're going to go to the big house. And
they're going to regret it. This is going to be an amazing football game.
I was hoping to see Ricky Fowler out there, for the pick'ems.
They actually asked me to go and be the celebrity guest if it was going to be at Bedlam, and then they switched to the big house. So sorry you guys won't see me on national TV. I know I'm a huge deal. I am a co-host of the Trevor and Bryce show. I know that's a big deal. But
your name's first.
Yeah.
All right, OU, OSU, quit your yabbing because I know that you have to. I know what you have to say here. OSU minus 4 over under 50.5. What do you got?
Taking the Oklahoma Sooners in this one.
What an idiot.
The Oklahoma Sooners are going to win this game.
Idiot.
They are going to somehow start playing well the last game of the year. Go on and beat Oklahoma State not once, but twice in the Big 12 title game and go to the college football playoff and destroy the University of Georgia. I'm sorry, I can't lie. I can't lie anymore. I do think Oklahoma's going to win this football game. I'm taking the Sooners -4 in the bet, and I'm also taking them in the game. It's Bedlam. Anything can happen. This is a lot like OU Texas. You walk in there. I know they're both 10-1, so it's a very similarly matched game. Anything can happen. I promise you. I got to play in this game for 5 years, and it truly is Bedlam.
Similarly matched game.
10-1.
Are you kidding?
Similar schedule.
Similar records.
Ranks,
This is not
everything.
a similarly matched game. It's godly. It pains me to sit here and listen to all that junk. Oklahoma State is going to win. They're not going to win big, but they are going to win, and I think it's going to be a dominating football game by their defense. I think you're going to sit there and Lincoln Riley's going to be like, oh, my gosh, I need another note card to write these plays on. LSU, where are you at? Do I get, my contract now or next week? Oklahoma goes 9-0, and then they lose their 10th game, win their 11th game, and they're going to lose their 12th game. And this is what we said. The last 3 games, it was a very, very, very front-loaded schedule to their, to their aid, if that makes sense. But now to their demise, they are going to lose 2 out of the 3, which I believe you said they were going to go 3-0. I said they're going to lose 2 out of the 3. So, man, golly. I hope this doesn't hurt our friendship. So, anyways,
It already has.
Oklahoma State's locked in the Big 12 championship. This is why I love this game, is because Bedlam is always a big deal. Interstate, with recruiting, with dudes going, hey, hate you, don't like you. I'm sure that happens. I never played in Bedlam.
It is. I mean, it is. It's a rivalry game. It's obviously and historically very lopsided to OU. That's why the Sooners call the Cowboys, little brother. And all those types of things. But I think you're right, Bryce. I think it's gonna be a good game. I hope that we see 2 teams come out and compete to the best of their ability. I hope it's a shootout. I hope you see the quarterback at OU, whoever that is, it's gonna be Caleb Williams. I hope you see Caleb Williams letting it loose. I hope you see the defense for Oklahoma State running around like they have been. I just hope it's a really good football game because it's good for our conference.
Yeah.
And it'll all shape out this week who's going to Jerry World to take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Another awesome week, Bryce, here on the Trevor and Bryce show. It's been an incredible – the regular season comes to an end this week. We will be back next week. Don't worry. We will be here to recap these games, and then we'll still have a couple shows as we move into bowl season. But as always, a huge shout out and thank you to our partner at Bet River Sportsbook. You guys saw some of the lines. There's some great games to bet on this week. I think Bryce is going to empty out his little piggy bank under his bed getting his little hammer, is going to crack it open and put a couple bucks on some of these games. So,
No doubt.
Like every week, Bryce, appreciate you, man. Guys, thank you for joining us. Follow us on Twitter. Interact with us. A lot of you guys are. We appreciate that so much. Follow our After Dark show on Saturday nights, where we follow up the primetime game and talk college football. But for that, another week of the Trevor and Bryce show.
No doubt. Thank you, guys, and happy Thanksgiving. To
Happy
all of you guys
Thanksgiving.
out there and girls.